Marjorie Brook from Brook Seminars Bodywork Education, and I wanted to take some time to share with you a couple experiences or situations that seem to pop up during classes. I was recently teaching a cervical version of the Integrated Therapeutic Stretching course offered here at Brook Seminars. And we had one therapist who immediately came up to me as the class started to let me know all about her injuries and her problems with her neck. She basically had a little bit of deterioration in the discs and very limited range of motion. And in fact, she took the class specifically because she wanted to start to heal her own neck before she could work with anyone else. At one point in the class, I started to discuss cervical rotation, and she immediately cut me off and said, "Oh, I'm not allowed to do that." And I looked at her and I said, "Well, why can't you do that?" Because, "Well, the doctor told me, no, I shouldn't do that." And I said, "Why did the doctor tell you? For what reason could you not do cervical rotation?" And she just stared at me. And she goes, "Well, he just said that I shouldn't." So at this point, I explained to her and the rest of the class that, especially as a therapist, anytime a doctor tells you that you should or should not do something, the first word out of your mouth should be, "Why? Can you please explain to me why I shouldn't do cervical rotation or why I should be doing this exercise?" Because the more informed you are, the better you are in helping yourself recover from an injury or a disease. And so I asked her again, "Did you ask the doctor why?" And she goes, "Well, no, but it's not just the doctor, it's the PTs. The PTs also, they told me all the exercises they gave me, none of them had cervical rotation in them." Right? They purposely did not have me do that rotation move. I said, "Okay, now did the PTs explain why?" Again, and she said, "Well, no." And I said, "Well, did the PTs not give you cervical rotation because you told them the same thing you said to me? The doctor said not to do it." She's like, "I'm not sure." And I said, "Okay." And we started to move on, and then she interrupted me again. And she goes, wait, I remember what it was. Before I got injured, I went for a chiropractic adjustment, and when the doctor went to adjust me, they did this type of rotation move, and that's what started everything. So I said, "Okay, well, here's a classic example." So it's more your fear of doing cervical rotation than it is than someone telling you that you weren't supposed to do it. She got very adamant. She's like, no, for sure, the doctor told me I wasn't allowed to do it." And I said, "Okay, which doctor told you you weren't allowed to do it? Your chiropractor, your osteopath? Who told you that you shouldn't do cervical rotation?" And she sort of thought about it for a second, and the lights started to go on, and she's realizing that no one ever told her not to do cervical rotation. It was basically her fear of repeating the action that caused her injury, that she went so far in her mind as to create a whole scenario that she was warned off by the doctor not to do the rotation. Once she had this realization, she was quiet for a little while, and I said if she was willing to, I would personally do the cervical rotation stretch with her, and she didn't have to do it with her partner. So when I came over to do the stretch with her, she trusted me, and she did 3 cervical rotation stretches to the right and 3 to the left. And within a few seconds, she took a deep breath, and all of a sudden, there was first a sign of relief on her face that she could actually turn, and then the emotional rush just came on for her. Basically, the cervical rotation was the key to open the door for her dealing with all the emotional trauma that was involved and circling around her injury. So we have a very big moment that happened here. And the class was so appreciative the class could see this happen, that by my simply taking a few minutes as the therapist to ask her a few questions such as why, and taking the time, the few minutes that it took us to bring her to the realization of no one actually told her that she was preventing herself. It could very well have been that the doctor did give her a reason, and that would be great. We could then work from the reason as to why he or she would say she couldn't do cervical rotation. But that wasn't the case here. Here was the case of a client actually realizing that they were self-limiting their own recovery and actually causing a little more damage by limiting the ranges of motion that they were willing to move in. Right? And the fact that all of this was connected to an emotional blockage that she had surrounding the injury. This is a very, very, very important moment that happened in the class, and for the class to see, and that's why I wanted to share it with you. Because the truth is, we are more than just manual therapists. Okay? We're not just body in and body out on the table. We need to take the time to ask a few simple questions. Why? When? How come? To get to the root of the situation and where the client is mentally, emotionally, and physically. right? That's a whole picture moment. That's where we bring in everything. And it's very, very important, and it really goes along with my mantra that we are more than just manual therapists. So I hope you enjoyed that little bit of information, and I want to thank you for sharing your time with me for this quick, brief, whole picture moment.